Hello and welcome to Stations of the Cross, walking the Via Dolorosa with Jesus during this time of coronavirus. I'm Pastor Ted Peters at Cross and Crown Lutheran Church, and during this 2-week period leading up to Easter, we're going to follow in the steps of Jesus, stopping at each station, 14 stations, reminding ourselves of not just what Jesus was experiencing, but what God incarnate was experiencing, residing here with you and me, the rest of the human race, and yes, even his biological, physical, and chemical nature. What it means to be a human being, God now knows, having done it in Jesus. The 14 days we're going to follow aren't precisely those you might be used to in the Roman Catholic tradition. No, this is slightly modified by Mark Roberts at Patheos. And Patheos, if you haven't found it on the web yet, is an excellent resource for Christian devotional and theological literature, as well as materials for the religions of the world. Here at station number 1, we're going to the Mount of Olives, to the Garden of Gethsemane, to Thursday evening, Maundy Thursday. The disciples have just had what we call the Last Supper. Jesus is now out in the Garden of Gethsemane and at the Mount of Olives, and he's going to pray. And let's take a look at what we find in Luke chapter 22, verses 39 to 46. Jesus came out and went, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. When he reached the place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not come into the time of trial." Then Jesus withdrew from them about a stone's throw, knelt and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Yet, not my will, but yours be done." Then an angel from heaven appeared to him and gave him strength. In his anguish he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling on the ground. And when he got up from prayer, he came to his disciples and found them sleeping because of grief. And he said to them, "Why are you sleeping? Get up and pray that you may not come into the time of trial." Pastor Roberts leads us in a meditation on this, and he reflects on a piece of art. This is Jesus in Gethsemane, Heinrich Hoffmann in the 19th century. In the Hoffmann painting, Jesus looks like he's calm and at peace. Now, this Hoffmann painting doesn't quite depict what we just read here in the Gospel of Luke, does it? Jesus is not at peace. He's in anguish, sweating drops of blood. He says, "God, remove this cup from me. I don't want to go through with this mocking and this suffering and this dying. Remove this cup from me. But nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done." That's the way he closes this prayer. It's the way you and I should close every one of our prayers to God as well. That line, "remove this cup from me," that's a powerful line. It was written in the Greek language when the New Testament was first made available, and everybody reading the Greek is going to think of a particular Greek hero, somebody who died after drinking from the cup. Do you know who that person was? Socrates. Socrates, as you may recall, drank poison out of a cup and was executed. Socrates was living in Athens, Greece, about 4 centuries before Jesus. He was arrested and accused of atheism, convicted of atheism. He had ceased to believe in the many gods of Mount Olympus, that's Zeus and Aphrodite and all the others. Instead, he wanted to believe in one God, but that still counted as atheism according to the court. He was condemned to death, and his method of execution was to drink the cup of hemlock, poison. On the night before Socrates died, quite different from the night before Jesus died, Socrates too had friends come who expressed the fact that they would miss him. They would no longer have these lovely wine-drinking parties in which they would discuss sublime philosophy. No, Socrates would be dead, and Socrates comforts his friends, not the other way around. He says, friends, when I die, it's only my body that dies. My soul goes off to a heavenly realm where I can think abstract ideas and don't have to worry about coming home and washing the dishes or mowing the lawn. I will be liberated. So Socrates almost enjoyed drinking the poison. But Jesus, in contrast, says, no, I don't want to drink this. Jesus doesn't have the comfort that his soul is going to somehow or other just flit away from his body so that he can avoid the trials that are to come. No, Jesus faces his death with great fear and trepidation, sweating drops of blood, but he finishes his prayer like you and I should finish every one of our prayers. Not my will, but thy will be done. Here is Desmond Ford's painting of Jesus in Gethsemane. It looks a little more like what we saw in the Gospel of Luke. I would like to close Station 1 with Pastor Robert's prayer, but we're just going to add one petition, okay? Let's bow our heads in prayer. Lord Jesus, as I reflect upon your experience in Gethsemane, I am once again astounded by your utter humanness. You are not God in the flesh, well, sort of, but truly God in human flesh. You are Emmanuel, God with us. Thus you are also God with me. You understand me. You stand with me in hard times, even coronavirus times. You encourage me when I wrestle with the Father's will, and you intercede for me. How I thank you, dear Lord, for who you are, for what you have done, and for what you are doing in my life today. And today and tomorrow it is not my will, but your will that should be done in my life. Amen.